It's time for Tensions Running High, a Penrith Panthers podcast presented by the Western Weekender, brought to you by Penrith City Automotive. Here's Troy Dodds and Nathan Taylor.
Hello everyone and welcome to Tensions Running High, a Penrith Panthers podcast presented by the Western Weekender. This is episode 78. I'm Troy Dodds and I'm joined by Nathan Taylor. Hello Nathan.
Hello Troy.
We are the voice of rugby league in Penrith and we love talking all things Penrith Panthers. For 35 years, the Western Weekender has led the way in Panthers coverage here in Penrith. We've covered 6 premierships, the biggest breaking stories and interviewed CEOs, coaches, chairmen, players, the list goes on. A big thanks to our sponsor, Penrith City Automotive. Go and see Garth and the team. Get yourself a new or used car from the people who do it best. On the agenda today, we preview the clash between the Panthers and Tigers. Was rugby league really better in the 90s? We throw in a few new pieces to our rugby league museum, and we hear from Ivan Cleary, plus so much more. But let's begin the show. And Nathan, a big performance, a game that everyone's talking about on Sunday night. The Panthers 20, the Warriors 18. What a game.
Yeah, it was my favourite game of the year, I think, for Penrith at least. It just had everything. It was you sort of, two teams missing some big key players sort of came together and put on an absolute spectacular performance. Amazing that Penrith got the win in the end. It did look like the Warriors were gonna steal it, in the last few minutes, and we could all probably see that coming, considering all the defence that Penrith had to go through in those last moments. But some huge plays in the end from some really key players, and Dylan Edwards, that tackle that he made to stop a near certain try, and Paul Alamotti to bounce back from that little slip up he had, late in the second half to score the match winner. It was just the perfect game. I loved it.
Yeah, look, and definitely one of the high-quality games of the season. And let me tell you, no surprise that it was the most watched round 13 of all time or something that they're going on about.
Just round 13.
Apparently, but also the highest-ranking Sunday night game. There was a whole bunch of records over the weekend. Not surprising, because we actually had 5, I think, close games. So the blowouts were few and far between, which was good. And despite the criticism, and understandable criticism, of the Sunday night time slot, 17,000 crowd, the highest rating Sunday night game of the year. That time slot is actually, it feels weird, I think, to us as rugby league fans, but I think, most people are home. If they want to watch the game, it's not too prohibitive to take the kids to. I actually think it's an okay time slot. It's
a good time slot, but it helped that the top 2 teams were playing each other. If this was Panthers and the Titans, you're probably only getting 9,000 or something like that. No offense, the Warriors, they were very loud, and it was potentially they could have been more Warriors fans there on the night. So if you're facing a team that's a lot lower down the ladder, I doubt that you would have got a crowd like that or a television audience like that. But yeah, the perfect mix of things came together with the top 2 teams coming together on a Sunday night, and everyone tuned in for it.
I actually was driving to the game, and I had to wait about 3 minutes while the Warriors March took place. You know about this?
No.
So the Warriors fans, the Sydney-based Warriors fans, are now doing these marches to games that they go to.
Yeah.
And I was driving there along O'Connell Street, and the light's green. I'm like, what's going on here? The policeman walks out, stops the traffic, and this Warriors March comes on down the street. Probably 1,000 Warriors fans have come from a local pub, I guess. I thought I was in Auckland.
Oh, far out.
Yeah, so they were very loud.
They had you sitting behind them. If it was someone else, you never know what could have happened.
Yeah, well, that's right. Could have been chaos.
Been disastrous.
But look, I thought, as you said, Dylan Edwards was great. I thought Casey McLean, as Ivan said, probably grew an extra leg after Origin. It's probably important for him to play, even though we rested the other guys. Important for him to play after probably the euphoria of it all. I doubt he slept much Wednesday night. I reckon you probably needed him to play versus having a week to think about it all and soak it up. Just get back on the game of Penrith, and gee, what a game he had. Paul Alamotti, great. I thought Isaiah Papali'i was great as well. Really all over the park. I mean, we lacked Nathan Cleary's kicking game in Jack Cogger, but Cogger still did
He set up a few tries, with his kicks. Casey McLean, just on him. I spoke to Stephen Crichton a couple of weeks ago at Blues training, and he said exactly that. He goes, if he doesn't play, if anything, he's gonna take a lot of confidence, and he's usually grow an extra leg when you come out of Origin camp and back to your club, and that's exactly what happened with Casey, and he actually got to play on Wednesday night. So no, it was super cool to see him just become even better already. Some huge plays, and it's just if I was Matt Cameron, I know he's still signed up for a couple more years, Casey McLean, but you'd have to imagine that there's going to be a chat with the manager soon saying, hey, I've done a fair bit now. Upgrade me sooner rather than later.
Yep. No, look, I don't doubt that those conversations may happen. Obviously, a game of moments. Yes, you mentioned the Paul Alamotti slip-up. Look, that was just
unlucky,
unbelievable. Just unlucky, but crazy. And also, in the moments that followed that, the James Fisher-Harris, I guess the scuffle, the little clap and whatever else, and then the Jared Sutton gave them a talking to, of course, and the handshake. Between
so
Dylan
I didn't
and
hear
James.
what obviously Sutton said because we were at the game. Troy, did you watch the game back?
I watched the game back, yep.
And what was he like? You guys are friends, you're former teammates. What did he say?
Yeah, it was basically like a school principal saying, "Come on, guys, you know, kiss and make up."
Yeah.
No, he didn't make them shake hands. That would have been quite funny if Jared said, "Come on, boys, shake hands."
That's what it looked like.
No, he said, "Look, guys, look, we're at a flashpoint of the game here. It's very close, and if you guys don't sort this out, I'm, sitting someone down." So, and he was basically in the scuffle. He's telling James Fisher-Harris, he's saying, if you don't get your players out of here, you've got problems because you caused this.
Yeah.
So he's basically saying, hey, you better sort this out, or we might not award this try or something. I don't know, but
what did you make of it? Did you think what was he doing?
You know what? I guess we just look at it because it's Fish, and we're like, come on, Fish, you should like these guys. But it's heat of the moment, close game.
They were up.
I'm all right
He was
with
just
it.
making fun of him. He was just making fun of Alamotti.
He was, and that was silly because Alamotti goes on to score
It was
the
very silly.
match-winning try. The other moment, of course, was the forward pass call. Now, when we saw the replays on the big screen, I thought, well, this is a clanger from the referee and the touch judges. But looking back on some of the other angles and whatever else, I think it was forward. I think it was a forward pass.
Well, Dylan Edwards was quite surprised. He was shocked that it got called back.
Yeah. But I just think that Milky, he delayed that pass a little bit. It's like sort of almost as if he didn't want to pass it, then he did pass it, and I just think it floats forward.
But do you think had it got awarded, do you think there would have been a blow up?
No, I don't think it was forward enough that it was a blow up situation.
Yeah.
But I'm comfortable enough. But I tell you what, like at the ground, I was furious. Blowing up.
Because that would have put the game away. We could have relaxed for the last 5 minutes.
I actually had these two Warriors fans who'd somehow made their way up. Just in front of us, and they were quite parochial. So I was very happy when full time went. But they were, they were, blowing up at the prospect that wasn't forward. Look at how forward it is, and all of this sort of stuff. But they'd also had about 16 beers at that point. They made a few trips. But yeah, look, Panthers beating the Warriors, a great performance, and as we say, one of the games of the year, and one of those games that I'm not going to say that I'm not excited in Penrith games, but for the first time in a long time, just a game where you just felt really energised as you were watching it.
Was this before you found out the Origin players weren't playing?
No. I'm just saying I wasn't. I'm saying for the whole year, I sometimes just don't get excited as much because I'm just used to winning now. And I'm used to winning.
As opposed to last seison, we were fighting
during,
for our lives.
Well, actually, I wouldn't say I enjoyed that period last season, but it was something different where, I'm just used to Penrith in comfortable games and whatever. But without the Origin players, I was like, well, yeah, the Warriors could win this in this last couple of minutes when it was all happening. So it's good. It was exciting.
Yeah, it was. No, it was my favourite game of the year. Like the Storm one was cool because it was a massive scoreline against the Storm. But this one, just because you were on the edge of your seat for most of the game, they did well. They put on a good show.
Well, our attention turns to Sunday afternoon. Now, the Panthers take on the Tigers. This is a Tigers home game at CommBank Stadium, so don't turn up with your Panthers
And a lot
membership.
of people don't know that. A lot of people think it's a Panthers home game. So I would love to know if people do actually accidentally show up and try and scan their pass.
Well, I believe it happened in the Parramatta-Penrith game last year. Where Para fans thought, it's a home game.
Yeah, because this isn't a top... Tigers don't... I know they played the other week, but this is not necessarily their home ground either. Because my uncle, he was like, we're going to go to the game next Sunday. He organised for my auntie to look after a few things, and I'm like, no, Pete, I'm not going. He's like, why not? I'm like, because it's not our home game.
You go to tickettech.com, or is it still Tickettech? I'm not sure.
Ticketmaster.
Now, yeah. But look, Panthers, Tigers. Now, the Masked Panther, he likes to text and drive. I do know this, but he did send me a text on Sunday night, and I think he's going to put it in his column on Thursday. He's driving along the M4 after seeing the game, got his mask on, and he sees none other than Jerome Luai's car coming from the direction of CommBank Stadium. Right. He snapped a photo of it, so it's legitimate. So did Jerome Luai go to Combank Stadium to scope out this Penrith team that he's facing on Sunday?
But like, how close was he near the stadium?
I believe he was in the Hungry Jack's Ampol complex there, the recently completed.
Oh, on the M4.
Right after the game, like,
Oh, okay.
same time as
well,
Mars
it's possible that he's gotten some backers or Hungry Jacks on the way home from wherever, but
it's also possible that he was scoping it out. Someone should ask Jerome.
Does he need to scope it out?
Send someone to the Tigers press conference.
You'd think he would have got spotted somewhere, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd just be interested. Like, did he? And why did he go? Did he go just because he's still mates with Penrith people and Warriors people as well? Or did he actually go to scope it out? Or did he not go and it was just coincidence?
Did he not go? He just went to the movies somewhere in Blacktown and then we've just spotted him on the way home.
Maybe. But anyway, Panthers Tigers with Jerome Luai, the spy.
I should message him. Me and him were on the texting basis. So what were you doing at Hungry Jack's?
Yeah, let's ask him. All right. Now, of course, this is a game. Now, Nathan, I look at the odds for this game and I see West Tigers 4.25, Penrith $1.23, short priced favourites, and I'm okay with that. I think that's understandable, but I'll tell you the one reason that I think I'm only just slightly worried. I'm not, Peter Lang worried. I'm just slightly
That's
worried.
That's the scale of worriedness.
And that is for the first time in recent years, apart from, let's put an asterisk next to the games where Penrith had Origin players out and whatever. I reckon the West Tigers are bloody excited about the prospect of facing Penrith on Sunday. I reckon in previous years when they've been struggling and trying to get off the bottom of the ladder, a game against Penrith has kind of been pretty daunting.
Yep.
But they go into this game on the cusp of the 8, certainly playing the best football they've played in probably a decade, a real chance of making the finals. Off the back of a win over the Bulldogs in which everything went against them, despite what Cameron Ciraldo says. They consider themselves a shot, and I reckon they'd be excited about this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could be another scenario like the Bulldogs earlier this year who were so desperate to finally beat us, and they did, and that ends up being Penrith's lone loss of the year so far. So, yeah, there's obviously areas of that could happen. But looking on paper here, like the Penrith side is obviously full strength.
Yeah, back with Origin players back.
When you've got Mav Gaia in the back row for the Tigers, nothing against Mav. He's been great, but he hasn't played much first grade this year.
On paper.
This Penrith team is, got apart from Mitch Kenny, Liam Martin came back last week. All the Origin guys have been named. They're named to return. Casey McLean's there. Like, on paper, this side's red hot.
Yeah, and look, when you do look at it on paper, side by side, you go, well, put me in the mental institution thinking that the Tigers are a chance. I don't think they win the Tigers. I just think that they're finally on a path where they'd be excited to challenge themselves against Penrith. And for that reason, and a nice, good Sunday afternoon, probably a decent crowd, I reckon that they'll put up a fight.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting
I
Penrith
remember
to run
last
away
year it was they played at Combank. It was a Tigers home game. I remember Penrith just scraping home that night too.
Yeah.
That afternoon, sorry.
Yeah. Now, I think Tigers, Alex Twal out of this game as well. So that's a blow for them. As you mentioned, Penrith welcome back the Origin Stars. Api Coruscant, big game for him because he could be the New South Wales hooker.
You would think he gets named somewhere. I think he'd have to be.
Yeah, well, I think
he's experienced.
You'd think he at least needs a decent game.
He does.
But yep, and then the Panthers, of course, as we mentioned, welcoming back all of their Origin players. So that's certainly going to feed into the narrative that they're probably going to win this one by.
And then Penrith have a bye the week after. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, Penrith have a bye leading into Origin 2, so we don't need to.
I don't like these buys being so close together. That is really close.
Well, there's two ways to look at it. It makes managing the Origin period easier, but it does mean that the run into the finals is long.
I would have loved to have one into like round 23, round 24.
But you know what's going to happen. We're going to
freshen up.
We're going to rest players.
Well, now that they've got a nice little buffer,
if we've got the buffer,
4 points on the Warriors, 6 points on third. That's pretty decent.
Like, we actually play the West Tigers in the last round, back at Combank, Penrith home
Which
game.
is that John Farragher game, isn't it?
Yes. Now, that'll be really interesting. Like, are we really going to rest?
Ivan loves playing his plays in that last round,
So,
though. He did it last year as well.
So then it becomes
the
second last game, which is, again, the Bulldogs. So, like last year,
okay.
the possibility, and I tell you what, Channel 9 and the broadcasters wouldn't be happy with this one because it is the Friday 8 p.m. game.
Right.
But yeah, that could be the game.
But the Bulldogs may not have nothing to play for as well. Who knows what the situation's like in a couple of months' time.
You know what? I reckon those last two games, one of those teams needs to beat us to make the 8. Like the Dogs will be at 8th or 9th or something, or the Tigers might need to win to make the 8.
Yeah.
So I reckon that they'll be intriguing games. But yeah, look, it's Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. So that makes it a Fox exclusive game this Sunday at CommBank Stadium. The Panthers and the Tigers, and 10th versus 1st. But you can get your tickets from Ticketmaster, as Nathan says. Very expensive, apparently. I heard Vossi on a rant about this
particular game?
Well, about Tigers games in general. Apparently the Tigers Bulldogs tickets last week were very expensive.
Really?
And he's not...
Because when they're Penrith games, I think they've got this cool special and it's $67 for 2 adults, 2 kids. General admission, I presume.
Yep.
So I'm not sure why other clubs aren't coming up with some cool deals like that. But this is also the battle for the Royce Simmons Cup, Troy.
Royce Simmons Cup, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
that's
right. Well, that's what the Tigers
that.
are billing it as. I've seen a lot of ads on Facebook that get along to the Royce Simmons Cup.
Yep.
Penrith obviously are the current holders of the cup. Not sure where the cup is. Is it at Royce's house?
Is there a cup? Well, there is. There's a proper.
Yeah, but is it in the club, in the academy? Does Royce just keep it at his place at the Royce?
Well, we know where the Battle of the West Cup at least was.
It was in
in the dregs of Penrith Park.
Abandoned offices,
the abandoned offices.
Isn't that funny? I wonder what happened to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because we wanted to take it home, remember? We went on our stadium tour.
If that's ended up in a skip bin somewhere, I'm outraged. So look, get your tickets, go along, or you can watch it live on Fox League. And I guess one story that came out this week, I wouldn't say it's like set a fire on the game or anything, but the Terrell May comments about Matt Cameron, and that he was going to sign with Penrith in 2022, but then Matt Cameron made some comments that he wasn't happy about. I don't know, it hasn't really got much traction this week, and I doubt Matt Cameron nor Penrith are that worried about it.
No, well, he said this in a podcast, didn't he? With Mansell?
Josh Mansell's podcast. Yeah. Did Josh Mansell win an award last week for his podcast?
Yes, he did. But we should probably talk about the 3 ground announcers we had the other day, Troy.
Yeah. So look, I don't know what happened there. Was there a triple booking, or was there?
I feel like obviously Glenn is locked in for most of the year, unless he's doing another game for someone else. But everyone loves Mansour, what he does. They probably thought, well, we're already paying Glenn. We probably can't dump him. So we'll just have them all. And then Jamie Rogers is there as well. Is Jamie Rogers?
Jamie Rogers, Lyndall Rogers.
Lyndall Rogers is there.
Jamie Rogers is Jamie Rogers here.
Is she the one on Sky News now?
She is now, yeah.
Yes. Lyndall was there as well. She didn't do too much. She did a few things here and there, but
she did the poo quiz.
We just had them. We just had them all. Yeah.
Yeah, very odd. Very odd. But yes, 3 ground announcers. I think that could it be the first time in history there's been
probably
3 ground announcers for a club game. I know sometimes at those special events they do different people, but yeah, it could be the first time in history that we've had 3 ground announcers for the one game. Very odd.
Very odd.
Very odd. We might try and get to the bottom of that. We'll try and find out why that occurred. All right, now Ivan Cleary spoke to the media earlier today. He's had a few things to say. In fact, it was, for Ivan, a very long press conference. I think it was almost 15 minutes.
Wow.
Which is very rare for Ivan. Now, he did talk about the Origin period, managing that, and, of course, the other players that are backing up and whatnot.
Oh, yes. Super pleasing. Obviously, there's every game, we value every game the same, so it's not like... we make their decisions feeling like we've got, enough points in the bank kind of thing. That's not really how we think at all. There's just so many parts to that decision. So obviously looking after our, key investments, our Origin players. But we're also confident in the guys to come in. So, and that's how they played. So yeah, I was really happy.
Ivan Cleary there on the players that came in and whatnot and the decisions around that. It did sound like from that presser that it wasn't necessarily the case that they were going to rest them, but they did make the decision post the State of Origin on Wednesday night. Now, Ivan was also asked about Nathan Cleary dominating Origin and this whole thing. And the interesting thing is we always compare him to Andrew Johns, or not we, but the general rugby league world wants to compare him to Andrew Johns. Ivan had a view on that.
I mean, I don't even know what dominating Origin is. I've never seen anyone do it. So, even Wally Lewis back in the day, he's probably the only one that's really... But did he? I don't know. No, it's just different. Everyone's memories are a bit different as well. So, look, I'm just so proud of him that he's in there for a start. and he prepares as hard as he can and plays as hard as he can. And did well last week, but it'll all be on again in a couple of weeks.
So yes, Ivan has not seen anyone dominate State of Origin, so unfair apparently to expect Nathan to.
Yeah, I think it's all a bit of a myth, that whole thing, isn't it? I think he's probably right about Wally Lewis back in the day. I mean, I never saw Wally Lewis play at all. I was too young, but you hear how he was just, the main medal is named after him, in an Origin series, so he must have been pretty damn good. But as for the Joey and Freddie and all those guys, I mean, they all had great Origin careers and long Origin careers, but whether they dominated a full series or not is, up to interpretation, I guess. But the pressure these days on certain players like Nathan, because he's in that conversation for the GOAT status, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's what I guess people are wanting to see. But Ivan's probably right. I don't think that's necessarily true.
Now, one other thing Ivan said today, and this might send some fear through the rest of the competition, because how is Ivan feeling now that he's a few weeks on from the decision about leaving Penrith at the end of next season?
Once I made the decision in my own head, I feel, because I've got an end date, I actually feel like I'm kind of a bit more dialed in. I don't know. I feel like I'm coaching maybe better, but I feel like, I feel definitely dialed in.
Ivan Cleary more dialed in now that he has made that decision. So, I don't know, things are going to get even better for the Panthers.
Yeah, well, it's interesting he says that, because, he's obviously, has he been dialed in these last 5 years? If he hasn't, man, he's doing bloody well. So
if he hasn't been, well, here we go. On
what is dialed in? What is it dialed in for? Where he just he spends an extra 5 minutes on something. He
knows, yeah.
He cuts up tape instead of allowing Peter Wallace to do it. Like, well, how hands-on is he now?
Yeah, well, look, very interesting. In fact, Ivan, he speaks in his book as well about this, about that, he used to do everything, and he has passed quite a lot on in years gone by. But, he's very dialed in, so look out for the rest of the competition.
Okay.
Talking of dialed in, Penrith City Automotive, they're always dialed in, and they are making end of financial year car buying easier than ever with big offers across Honda, Kia, Toyota and BYD. At Honda, drive away in the stylish HRV from just $32,900, the ZRV from $35,900, or the family-friendly CRV from $40,900. I drive the CRV, very family-friendly, they're right about that. Plus, every new Honda comes backed by an 8-year unlimited kilometre warranty, 8 years roadside assist, and 5 low-price services. And for performance enthusiasts, the legendary Honda Prelude is making its return. If you're looking at Kia, enjoy end of financial year value across the range, plus a $1,000 deposit contribution on all in-stock and demo vehicles when financed through Kia Finance. Toyota's end of financial year event is on now, with exceptional savings across new demo and over 100 quality pre-owned vehicles. You'll also find great offers on the BZ4X electric SUV, plus free on-road costs on selected Tundra models. And at BYD, take advantage of a competitive 1.88% comparison rate finance offer across selected models, along with a limited time cashback deal. But don't wait, these end of financial year offers finish up on June 30. Visit Penrith City Automotive today on the Great Western Highway at Kingswood. Penrith City Automotive, your destination for end of financial year savings across Honda, Kia, Toyota and BYD. Terms and conditions apply on those offers. Now, Nathan, we've been putting together the Penrith Panthers Museum.
We have.
We are yet to hold an announcement about when the museum will open or where it will be, but we are collecting items and putting items in.
Yep.
And so far, we've got Brandy's 55 jersey that he wore in Super League. The big ball, which will be an interactive experience. You can get your pads on and run at the big ball. You're donating your red seat, and we're getting a few others on loan for the theaterette that there'll be. And we've also got the big bell from sort of the mid-2014 kind of era. Now, today, you and I are putting an item in, but also one of our listeners, Warren, has emailed podcast@westernweekender.com.au. Now, he's got a pretty unique one. He wants to put Touch Judge Martin Weeks' flag from the 1991 Grand Final into the museum. Now, Martin Weeks, of course, is the touchy that ran onto the field with Mark Geyer, and that resulted in Mark Geyer, I think, calling him a cheat, and Mark Geyer was sin-binned, and that ultimately fires Penrith up to come back and beat Canberra. So Martin Weeks' incorrect flag, by the way, to come in, which would have, potentially, if it hadn't happened, maybe Canberra roll on. Warren wants to track down the flag and put it in the museum.
That's certainly a out-of-the-box item. That's going to be hard to find. I admit, I've never actually seen the 91 Grand Final, Troy, so I actually don't know the moment you're talking about.
What? This is breaking news.
I've seen highlights, but I've never sat
watched
down.
The 91 Grand Final
not from 0 to 80 minutes. No, obviously I've seen the highlights. I've seen the famous, try that Royce scored and Brandy's field goal, and I've seen the highlights, but I don't remember the Martin Weeks running on the field. I was 4.
Yeah, but you can watch it.
Where am I going to watch this? Going to get a dusty old VHS tape?
No, I think you can watch it in full somewhere on Fox or something. Oh, gee, this is huge.
Sorry. You're talking about it, I'm like, what the hell's he on about?
We are going to go back, and let me tell you, at some point this season, Nathan will be watching the 91 Grand Final.
Have you seen the 1990 Grand Final?
Absolutely, I have.
You've even seen that one, the loss.
Yep.
When you watch it live, though, you would have watched it.
I would have watched it live, so I would have been 6.
Oh, so you reckon you did watch it live?
Yeah, I reckon I watched it live. But 91, I've watched many times. And if you watch it, you start to wonder if we actually win. Because it gets
quite scary.
Let me tell you, I don't know how Penrith actually won it when you look at how dominant Canberra were during the game. Now, look, Nathan, I'm putting this one in. And this is the Panthers song that's actually our intro now to the podcast.
Let's all hear it for the Panthers. Yep.
It was actually, Channel 7 had a record label back in the 70s called 7 Records, and they released the Penrith Panthers song on vinyl, 7-inch vinyl, in 1978. Now, at this point, I actually don't have a copy, but I'll be tracking it down before the museum opens. And I'll be putting that in there, so that'll be on display.
Where do you reckon they sold this record?
Yeah, look, all good record stores, Brash's, places like that.
You reckon?
Yeah.
And the name was just Penrith Panthers song.
Yeah, it doesn't even have a name. There it is, Penrith Panthers song. They've got a photo on the front there, courtesy of Rugby League Week, and it says distributed by 7 Records. So yeah, look, I think it's on Discogs.
Yeah,
Discogs is a great website.
It's not on Discogs,
where you can go and look up your vinyl and see how much it's worth, see how much it might have sold for over the years, and I'm pretty sure it's on Discogs. Let's have a look here. Yes, here it is. Now it actually had a B-side. For those younger listeners who don't know what a B-side is, your A-side is your main track. The B-side is called the Kangaroos March, which I imagine is maybe the Australian theme song or something.
Right, okay.
Maybe that was on the B-side.
It couldn't have been the North Melbourne Kangaroos song.
No, you wouldn't think so. Now, I can tell you, Nathan, that this has sold for as high as $40 and as low as $29.95. No items available at the moment. But yeah, it's there.
You would have to imagine one of our listeners, because we do have a lot, believe it or not, must have a copy of this. And if they do, we're willing to negotiate a price. Especially you, Troy. I know you got deep pockets.
Put this, $40 was the high. I'll pay $41. Someone out there, I'll pay a record price.
Yeah. And we may even throw in some movie tickets or something just to sweeten the deal.
Yep. Or we got, the great gallery up in the Blue Mountains, the Norman Lindsay Gallery.
Plenty of tickets to those.
We love the Norman Lindsay Gallery, and we've got some tickets to that.
Yeah, and we'll give you a copy of the 4th as well.
Yeah, we've got a couple of them. Big seller.
Give you a whole box.
Well, that's what I'm putting in. So, Nathan, over to you. What are you reckoning in?
Well, I'm going to put in something a bit more modern, Troy. And modern, I mean probably around the 2011, 2012 era. Do you remember the famous joke fridge, Troy, that was in the Penrith media room, I guess, whenever they did coaches' press conferences at the end? We were obviously sponsored by Oak at the time, and some really innovative people over at Panthers decided to have all the Oaks in a fridge, and then they created a mascot out of one of them and called them the joke fridge. And this became, and actually had its own Twitter account as well at the time. I believe it still does. If you look up Twitter, look up Joke Oak Fridge, it's still there. I don't know what it was tweeting out back in the day, but I think it would be really cool to have in the museum if you're after a cold drink or a cold oat milk, because I'm sure we will still stock those. You just open up the original Joke Fridge and grab your milk as you walk around the museum and look at the other museum pieces. The Joke Fridge.
All right. Well, we're putting it in.
We're putting it in.
Yeah, all right. No, it's in. It's in there with the museum. The museum's starting to get pretty full.
It's getting full, yeah.
But we're going to still be adding some items in there soon. So we'll keep doing that over the next few weeks. And if you've got an item you want to add, podcast@westernweekender.com.au. Or if you have the 7-inch vinyl of the Penrith Panthers theme song. I'll pay $41 for it.
What if it's a bit
price.
scratched up a bit? Will you still take it?
Yeah, I'll still take it. Yeah.
Just so
I
you
was
can
going
have
to try and track down. I've got the cassette of Go the Mighty Panthers with Jane Scarley. I've got that somewhere. I haven't seen it for some time, so I'll have to try and track it down. But I might put that in there too.
All right.
All right, now, Nathan, you mentioned last week on the show that that X has become a bit of a cesspit.
It's a cesspit, yes.
And look, I used to be on Twitter quite a lot, but I'm not on X as much, but I pop in every now and again to have my say. And every time that I pop in and I see people whinging about rugby league, they're largely whinging about the fact that the game is not as good now as it was, often they say, in the 90s.
Yep.
The 90s apparently are the halcyon days of rugby league. What an era, and all of this. Now, I'm putting a giant question mark on that. And so my question to you today is, well, was rugby league really better in the 90s? And now here's my argument as to why I think people are looking at this through rose-coloured glasses. Firstly, I reckon if you went back to the 90s, there's people in there saying, geez, rugby league was so much better in the 70s and 80s. Like, let's be honest, But here's a couple of my points. Number one, how would you know? And I say that because we're making a comparison now on the fact that every single game, every single week is broadcast. For the vast majority of the 90s, most games actually weren't broadcast.
Right.
So, it wasn't until like pay TV mid-90s that we started to get a majority broadcast. But I remember the game, Penrith Wests in 1999, was not broadcast anywhere, radio only. So we still weren't showing every game, and yet people are so certain that the game was so much better in the 90s. Based on what? Based on they went to more games or whatever. Also, I just think that there's a rose-coloured glasses scenario because of some of the iconic moments that happened in the 90s. The Tina Turner campaign happened in the 90s. Super League happened, but we got the 97 grand final. We got all this. I don't know. I'm not as convinced as others that rugby league was better in the 90s.
When they talk about rugby league being better in the 90s, are they talking about the actual playing style and the sort of the performances on the field? Or are they talking about just the nostalgia of everything? Because we all love nostalgia, right? Like, a lot of people say that Penrith was better in the 90s, but, was it really? Some parts of it were. There was less traffic around, but some parts weren't. We've got so much stuff here now that you don't need to leave town. So I think nostalgia plays a big part in people's, looking back, maybe in 20 years, 30 years, who knows what rugby league looks like then. People will say, oh, it was so much better in the 2020s, who knows? But I think nostalgia plays a role. We love old movies, Troy, from the 90s. We'll whack on Home Alone and think that's the greatest movie ever, but other people might watch it now and think it's not as good. But I think nostalgia comes a big part of it. But, also those other classic things of the 90s. The Footy Show, we used to have that in our brain. We used to watch that every Thursday. That was just part of our lives, all the cool little marketing concepts that were there back then. The jerseys, we fall in love with those jerseys that these days we have heritage jerseys from the 90s.
I think it's because people like you, me, and a lot of people
trading cards
in this era on Twitter grew up in the 90s and fell in love with rugby league in the 90s. So in their mind, that is the era.
Of course.
But if you watch some 90s games, you'll often see a game on Fox. Like, okay, it's more aggressive in terms of, things getting let go. Certainly not as much as the 70s and 80s and whatever. But, okay, grow up. Like, we need to grow up like every other sport in the world. I don't actually think it's funny how hypocritical we are because it's much more stop-start, despite people claiming it's free-flowing. Yeah. Because we had more scrums.
Yeah.
In a lot of instances, the scrums replaced now with quick taps. We had more scrums. We had more penalties and no set restarts. So we were stopping for a penalty instead of the set restart. We were actually more stop-start in the 90s, and yet people now are claiming, it was so much more free-flowing, and also complaining about the fact that we've made it more free-flowing with set restarts. So, it's very, we're a hypocritical bunch.
We are. We also didn't have any video technology, no video referees, no bunkers, and people hate the bunker, and they love to hate the bunker, even though back in the 90s there could have been some crucial tries that happened that weren't tries.
What you're essentially saying when you hate the bunker is you preferred it when we got things wrong.
Yeah, at least the refs just had a crack. So I think that's part of it. Obviously, I think the players these days are more skillful. Obviously, they're all professional these days. The playing style looks more exciting. Even today compared to 10 years ago, I think our players are much more skillful in the way they're scoring tries. They're faster, they're fitter, they're stronger, and it just generally looks like a better product out there than people running around in baggy jerseys in the 90s. But yes, while it was nostalgic and we think it's cool and those players are legendary in our minds, I think the players of today are a lot better. And
I think the broadcast element is the key, because people are making comparisons to an era where we got highlight games every week, because we only, for a big chunk of the 90s, you really only had free-to-air, where you were getting the Friday night football game, which was always the game of the round, or the Sunday afternoon game on 9, or wherever it may have been, or 9, yeah, for sure. For a period there, that Sunday afternoon game, by the way, was a highlights package at 6:30 on a Sunday night, like literally highlights, not the full game. So, we're comparing watching the Titans and the Dragons play today with a Broncos Raiders game of the 90s, so it's a completely different thing.
If you this, people might get upset at me if I say this, but if you want the 90s nostalgia back, go down to Nepean Rugby Park on a Saturday afternoon and watch the mighty Penrith Emus play, and you will be in a very old grandstand. You won't have that technology that we have now. But if you want to feel what it was like in the 90s, go down and watch one of those games, because that's what it will feel like.
And look, my final case that rugby league was not better in the 90s, and you can make as many arguments as you want about this. Despite the Tina Turner campaign, despite the rugby league was apparently dominating the world in the 90s that we keep hearing about, the average attendance at a game in, say, for example, the 1995 season, which was the highest attended season of the decade, all right? So the best crowds were in 95, was 14,642. 14,642. The average NRL crowd in 2025 was 21,418. So you obviously expect crowds to go up, but if rugby league was so dominant in the 90s, in 95, the season when it's at its best in the 90s, we're not filling stadiums. We're not selling out stadiums. It's much cheaper to go, and it's a much more family sort of event. There's more afternoon games. There's all of that. Well, people didn't rock up.
That's right. Petrol prices were better in the 90s too, I wish I could go back to those prices.
Yep, well, exactly.
McDonald's prices, everything.
And, and we talk about quality. Well, let me tell you, you watched a West versus Illawarra game in 1999 or something. Or earlier, because St George and Illawarra were merged by then. But there was some, put it this way, there were some pretty ordinary games in the 90s, just as there are now. Anyway, that's my rant.
No, it's fair enough. I agree.
So if anyone wants to complain about that, podcast at westernweekender.com.au. Oh, we've paid the license. Got the got the intro for Where Are They Now? Nathan Taylor's Where Are They Now? Nathan, now always each week you give me 3 options of players, so I can make a decision on who I want to hear about and find out where they are.
Okay, well the first option is Sam McKendry, Troy.
Oh, yeah.
Now I know he appeared at the game on the weekend, I believe.
Did he? Okay.
I wasn't there early enough to see, but apparently Glenn Hawke interviewed him at some point during the game. So Sam McKendry. We've got great Lachlan Coote. Now he was my favourite player growing up. Growing up, I was an adult when he was playing, but he was my favourite player. Loved Lachlan Coote. And the last one, Barry Walker, Troy.
Ooh,
nice old name from speaking of the 90s. So pick out one of those players, please.
You know what? I do want to know about Barry Walker, but I'm going to go Lachlan Coote because I am intrigued as to what happened to Lachlan. I think he went to the Cowboys, of course, after the Panthers. But what happened to Lachlan Coote?
Yeah, so obviously Lachlan Coote, he was the Panthers Rookie of the Year in 2008. And we'll remember him a couple of years later when him and Luke Walsh were combining. Luke Walsh would put some great bombs up and Cootie would be there flying out of nowhere. A great little fullback. Destined for a huge career. I think Gus put him on a massive deal at 1.2. He put a lot of players on big deals, Gus, and then regretted it later. But he ended up playing 83 games for the Panthers between 2008 and 2013, scoring 43 tries, 10 goals, 1 field goal for 193 points. So a pretty decent little career there. But that all ended in 2013, when in 2014 he joined the Cowboys. Of course, he was there for 83 games as well, Troy. Only 15 tries, but he was there in 2015 when obviously the Cowboys won their maiden NRL competition. Jonathan Thurston grand final, of course. Huge occasion for Cootie there. He stayed at the Cowboys until 2018 before, like all players or most players do, go to the Super League, and he actually went to St Helens. Won a bunch of comps at St Helens. 66 games for those guys. 34 tries, so he was a bit of a beast over there in the UK Super League before he finished his career at the Hull Kingston Rovers. He played a couple of seasons there and retired in 2023. Troy did a repeated concussions, so he actually didn't get to finish out that season. So that was Lachlan Coote's playing career, but you probably want to know what he's doing now, Troy.
What did he get up to post-rugby league?
He actually moved back to Townsville. Now, he's obviously a Penrith junior. I think he grew up in Windsor, but he decided to move back to Townsville. He must have enjoyed the warm weather up there. He's currently 36 years old now, Troy, and he has transitioned into the property market as a real estate agent. Okay, so he was working with according to my notes here, was working at Northern Realty, and now he's been linked to a company called Made in Townsville. So he originally completed an online real estate course as a backup plan during his playing days, but since has made it his primary focus to provide for his young family. He's got 2 kids, you want to buy a house in Townsville, the great Lachlan Coote is your man. He'll come around and show you all the highlights of your new property, but he also remains heavily active in the community as well up in Townsville. He took on the Breaking Point Challenge earlier this year, which was a brutal 30-hour physical and psychological training event to raise vital funds for the Cure Starts Now Australia, a Townsville-born childhood cancer research charity. So he's very much in the community up there in Townsville, whether it's selling property and real estate to doing some things, in the charity space. But Lachlan Coote, huge Penrith guy, big Penrith junior, probably one of Penrith's better fullbacks in that era in the 2010s, but obviously made a name for himself in Townsville by winning that premiership, and that's where he is today.
Yeah, what about this? There I am.
Very good. He's holding a Western Weekender.
Not a visual, but here's a photo I just tracked down then of myself with the great Lachlan Coote.
Excellent. And, I actually have a photo around that era too. I actually spent some time in jail with Lachlan Coote.
Yes,
Troy.
That's right. You did too.
There was a PCYC thing they used to do many years ago now, maybe 15 years ago, where they would lock people up. They put them in prison gear and lock people up, and then you'd have to go around and beg for money. And me and Lachlan Coote actually got locked up in a little fake cell over at the Penrith Paceway, Troy.
Yes, one of the highlights of his career, I believe.
And there's a crazy photo of me as well, me and Cootie holding the bars, looking to get out. I think I raised more money than him that night, believe it or not.
There you go.
That was my claim to fame.
All right, well, there we go. We know where Lachlan Coote is
up in Townsville.
Very good. All right, well, that is Where Are They Now? Now, final word, Panthers Tigers on Sunday. I'm going Penrith by 12.
Yes, I'm going the Panthers, of course. I think the side is just that little bit stronger. It's full of superstars. It'll be a good game. I think it'll be a good, fun game, but I think in the end, Penrith will win by, I'm going to say 20 points, Troy.
Ooh, okay. You're very, very confident about
Penrith are very good in the day. They like to score a lot of points, and I think they'll do just that.
All right, well, we'll see how that goes Sunday afternoon. Now, we've got a new edition of Extra Time out on Thursday. Make sure you check that out because Peter Lang is calling for a big signing.
A huge signing.
A huge signing in Penrith. Mars Panther has got some news as well. We've also got the poster. We've got Brian To'o poster. So
we haven't done him yet.
We haven't done Brian To'o yet.
That'll be a big one.
Collecting your posters. By the way, if you are collecting the posters and you miss one, they are available to download on the Western Weekender website.
You just got to print them out yourself.
You do have to print them out yourself, yep. You know what? If you popped into the office here, we'd print them out for a small fee.
What do you charge them? 30 cents?
Yeah, something like that.
What do Officeworks charge for an A3 size?
Price match.
Okay.
Whatever they do. All right, well, that is it for Tensions Running High this week. New episodes, of course, out every Wednesday. Visit westernweekender.com.au. Follow us on all the socials. Check out our print edition out every Thursday. Download the Western Weekender app, of course, and make sure that you like and subscribe the podcast wherever you are listening to it. I'm Troy Dodds. Nathan, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Troy.
Thanks to Penrith City Automotive for their sponsorship too. We will see you next time on Tensions Running High. Go the Panthers.